and commitment to the mission and purpose of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
You're a liar! You're a liar!
Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Well, it's that time, ladies and gentlemen, for the Political Pulpit. I'm your host, Josh Navarrete, and it's so good to be back on the program. And we are reporting live today because President Donald Trump has an amazing, a huge announcement, we'll call it. A very, very historical, huge announcement. So we wanted to tune in as soon as we can and get you that as soon as it comes available. So now we have, it looks like... let's pull it up really quick. If I can just get to it. I have a full screen. While I do that, I'm going to work on getting live on other places because it looks like a few of our accounts got bumped, but we'll get it up as soon as possible. Before we do that, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Share this broadcast, share this live stream, hit subscribe. Let's break through those algorithms and continue to partner with us. We want to thank everybody for doing that. It's been an amazing 6 months, 6 to 8 months now. It's coming along very, very quickly. But thank God for that. Let me know, producers, if you have it full screen. All right, there it is.
Many years ago, but they didn't have the technology. It's something we're going to have. We're going to have it at the highest level. I want to thank Secretary Hegseth, who's been fantastic, and Secretary Rubio, and Space Force Vice Chief of Space Operations, General Mike Gutlein. I also want to recognize Stan Sullivan, Kevin Kramer, and Jim Banks.
Okay, if I can have somebody come
great political talents, people that love our country.
While we work on this.
In the campaign, I promised the American people that I would build a cutting-edge missile defense shield
How's that? Sound
to protect our homeland from the threat of foreign missile attack. And that's what we're doing. Today, I'm pleased to announce that we have officially selected an architecture for this state-of-the-art system that will deploy next-generation technologies across the land, sea, and space, including space-based sensors and interceptors. And Canada has called us, and they want to be a part of it. So we'll be talking to them. They want to have protection also. So as usual, we help Canada do the best we can. This design for the Golden Dome will integrate with our existing defense capabilities and should be fully operational before the end of my term. So we'll have it done in about 3 years. Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles even if they are launched from other sides of the world and even if they are launched from space. And we will have the best system ever built. As you know, we helped Israel with theirs, and it was very successful, and now we have technology that's even far advanced from that, but including hypersonic missiles, ballistic missiles, and advanced cruise missiles. All of them will be knocked out of the air. We will truly be completing the job that President Reagan started 40 years ago, forever ending the missile threat to the American homeland, and the success rate is very close to 100%, which is incredible when you think of it. You're shooting bullets out of the air. I'm also pleased to report that the One Big Beautiful Bill will include $25 billion for the Golden Dome to help construction get underway. That's the initial sort of a down deposit. And we have probably, you're talking about, General, we're talking about $175 billion total cost of this when it's completed. This afternoon, I'm also announcing that I will appoint, very importantly, General Gutlein to lead the ambitious new effort as the direct reporting program manager for the Golden Dome. Very talented man, and I'm very honored to have been the one that helped or really created Space Force. Space Force has turned out to be a tremendous success. We were third in space, and now we're number one in space by a lot. It's not even close. And Mike is a 4-star Space Force general, the recipient of the Defense Distinguished Service Medal, one of the most respected people in the world having to do with defense. You know, we have offense and we have defense. I'll bet he's good at offense. and he has an unmatched background in missile warning technology and defense procurement. General Goodline also knows that we need to move fast. No one is more qualified for his job, and everybody, this was a universal acceptance of General Goodline. Everybody that knows him and knows everybody else, they said there's only one man for the job, so I have a feeling we have the right guy. But now I'd like to invite Secretary Hegseth and the General to please say a few words and describe the system a little bit. And we appreciate you being here. The press has really been very fair over the last period of a couple of months. I don't know what happened to you. It was so much more exciting the other way. But you've been very, very fair. We have very high poll numbers, the highest we've ever had. And I think we're doing a great job. We had a tremendous trip to the Middle East, as you know. It was a really amazing trip. And now I came home, and this is the one I was really looking forward to this day, because this is very important for the success and even survival of our country. It's a pretty evil world out there, so this is something that goes a long way toward the survival of this great country. And as I said, we'll be discussing Canada. They want to hook in, and they want to see if they can be a part of it. That sort of makes sense. I guess that's what I was talking about from day one. You know, it just automatically makes sense, and it won't be very difficult to do, but they'll pay their fair share. Thank you very much, everybody. And Pete, go ahead.
Well, Mr. President, add this to the long and growing list of promises made and promises kept. Ultimately, this right here, the Golden Dome for America, is a game changer. It's a generational investment in the security of America and Americans. Mr. President, you said we're going to secure our southern border and get 100% operational control after the previous administration allowed an invasion of people into our country. President Reagan 40 years ago cast the vision for it. The technology wasn't there. Now it is, and you're following through to say we will protect the homeland from cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, drones, whether they're conventional or nuclear. It's not lost on me, sir, also that you had the vision to start the Space Force. And here we are, when the others said we didn't need it, here we are in the Oval Office with one of the leaders of the Space Force in General Goodline leading the charge on putting in place a game-changing Golden Dome for America. So, sir, it's an honor to be a part of this bold initiative. We're going to get to work on it. We have been since you signed that executive order on January 27th. We've been fast forward on this. We're here on this day, and this is just one stop in delivering this defense of the homeland, which is something you've charged us with doing, and we'll keep going until it is complete, sir.
Thank you, Pete. Pete's doing a great job, by the way. Thank you very much. General, please.
Mr. President, today is a great day for the nation as we double down on protection of the homeland. As you're aware, our adversaries have become very capable and very intent on holding the homeland at risk. While we have been focused on keeping the peace overseas, our adversaries have been quickly modernizing their nuclear forces, building out ballistic missiles capable of hosting multiple warheads, building out hypersonic missiles capable of attacking the United States within an hour and traveling at 6,000 miles an hour, building cruise missiles that can navigate around our radar and our defenses, and building submarines that can sneak up on our shores, and worse yet, building space weapons. It is time that we change that equation and start doubling down on the protection of the homeland. Golden Dome is a bold and aggressive approach to hurry up and protect the homeland from our adversaries. We owe it to our children and our children's children to protect them and afford them a quality of life that we have all grown up enjoying. Golden Dome will afford that. I greatly appreciate your trust in me and your nomination in me and your trust in the team to deliver this. It is a great day for America.
And also, very importantly, we're the only ones that have this, we call it super technology. Nobody else has it. And nobody else has really near what we have. So this is a very exciting project. This is something that will, the general said close to 100% protection, so that's something we need. I think it's and everything's going to be made in the USA, by the way, very importantly. So it's something that I've been looking forward to for a long time. And I just noticed you two, Jim, you're standing there, and behind you is a very important document, Declaration of Independence. And that was in the vault for many decades right under this area. They have vaults with pictures on top. You have Abraham Lincoln. You see that was the original Abraham Lincoln, the original Washington. And does everybody know who the middle was? General Grant. And so it's very exciting. You look over here, and above Ronald Reagan, you have Thomas Jefferson. That's Monroe from the Monroe document. And you know who that is, right? Andrew Jackson. So we have a lot of very exciting pictures, and on the other side, likewise, some great presidents and great people on the many of these, because people were asking about them. Many of them, almost all of them, were in the vaults or nearby, but generally in the vaults downstairs. Well, we have some great. So it's very exciting, and the place has become a little different than you first saw it, Jim, right?
Yes, much
It's a
better.
little bit different. It's slightly better. But to think we had them, and some were in the vaults for over 100 years. So it's pretty cool stuff. Everybody knows Jim Banks. He's a great congressman, and now he's a great senator from Indiana. And you might want to say a few words.
Well, your legacy with Space Force, Mr. President, is already big, but the Golden Dome is going to be an even bigger legacy for our country. And Indiana is going to help you make it.
Right.
The space satellites that are made at Fort Wayne, Indiana by L3 Harris, all the work done at Crane Navy Base in southern Indiana is going to be a big part of it. And Hoosiers are very proud of that. We're proud of you. Thank you very much.
It's going to be a big factor. Thank you, and good luck, and congratulations. You won that race by a lot. That wasn't even a contest, right?
Well, thanks to you and all of your support.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Please go ahead. This is Senator Kramer, and he's one of our best. Can't get any better. Go ahead.
Well, you're very nice, Mr. President, and thanks for this. And I remember the day in your first term when you called, and I was a brand new baby freshman senator on the Armed Services Committee, and you said, I want to have a Space Force. Would you lead the effort on the Senate Armed Services Committee? And I felt so proud thinking that you chose me, only to find out later no one else would do it. But nonetheless, it worked out really, really, really well because North Dakota has some great space assets and that contribute to that and to Golden Dome. No surprise that you would be the president that would come along and put the homeland first. And this is just one more example of that. So thanks for this and for allowing me this opportunity. And by the way, let me just add my strong endorsement of General Goodline's role in leading this. I don't know anybody better equipped to do it than he is.
Everybody said that.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
Dan Sullivan, Alaska Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for your continued leadership on missile defense. We were talking earlier how in 2019 at the Pentagon, you laid out a speech about the Missile Defense Review that had all these principles on missile defense you articulated then during your first term, and now the Golden Dome is all of that. So you're continuing to lead. We really appreciate it. The Congress is stepping up, as you mentioned right now in the budget reconciliation bill, $25 billion for the Golden Dome. And what Senator Kramer and Senator Banks and I and many others, we're working on and I briefed you on this before, sir, on our Golden Dome Act, which we think will have, in terms of legislation that can help cement what you're doing right here, getting the Congress behind it, not just with the funding, but with authorization. So we're working closely with Secretary Hegseth, General Gutlein, and the whole team. So we're very honored to be here, sir. And Alaska is the cornerstone of missile defense right now in terms of ground-based missile interceptors, in terms of radar systems and track incoming missiles. So my state is honored to continue to play a critical role in all of this and build on it. And we're really excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dan. Great. Any questions?
Mr. President, you had mentioned at the beginning of your remarks that this was a campaign promise of yours. Have military commanders asked for this system specifically? Because NORAD had said previously that the current system was adequate. So what does this get the United States
Somebody
that
said the
isn't
current
already
system is
in
adequate.
before?
There really is no current system. We have certain areas of missiles and certain missile defense, but there's no system. We just have some very capable weapons that hopefully we never have to use, but we have some very capable weapons. Now, this is a different league. There's never been anything like this. This is something that's going to be very protective. I think you can rest assured there'll be nothing like this. Nobody else is capable of building it either.
Was it something that military commanders asked you for? Did they ask you to do this?
Well, let me put it differently. I suggested it, and they all said, we love the idea, sir. That's the way it's got to be, right? But they want it, and they wanted it badly once it was suggested. I don't know if they ever thought they would be lucky enough to have it, but we were able to get it done, and we have all the funding, so pretty much tucked away. I think most people feel it's very important to have. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. When you first announced this idea, critics said it would be prohibitively expensive, potentially ineffective, and could trigger an arms race in space. What do you say to those critics about that?
Well, they're wrong. It's about as close to perfect as you can have in terms of real production. I told you Canada wants to be a part of it, which be, fairly small expansion. But we'll work with them on pricing. We'll be dealing with them on pricing. They know about it very much. They've asked to be a part of it, actually. They've asked us to be a part of it. I think it's something that is great. If you can afford to do it, we can afford to do it. We took in $5.1 trillion in the last 4 days in the Middle East. And when you think about it, this is a tiny fraction of that. But we make it all here. We're going to make it all here. We have, I will tell you, an adversary told me, a very big adversary told me the most brilliant people in the world are Silicon Valley. He said, we cannot duplicate them. We can't. This was somebody that I won't tell you who it is, but you'd be amazed. We have the most brilliant minds in the world doing this kind of thing, the equipment, the space, the computers, everything. But I said that we just can't duplicate what you have there in Silicon Valley. We never have been able to, and there's a very strong group of people and very strong minds, but they can't. So we have things that nobody else can have. You see what we've done helping Israel with that. You probably wouldn't have in Israel. They launched probably 500 missiles altogether, and I think 1/2 of a missile got through, and that was only falling to the ground as scrap metal. It's pretty amazing, and this is in terms of technology far advanced from that system.
And just one follow-up on the adversaries. Have you?
Okay, as President Donald Trump takes questions from the press, he's just announced a giant, huge, historical announcement, the Golden Dome over America. And this is a missile defense system like we've never seen before. There is a graphic to his left and also to his right. They've already shown it, and it looks like this is all in the big, beautiful bill that's coming forth and past the House, hopefully gets through the Senate. And there's a lot to take from this. They're asking him other questions. I'm sure the questions about President Biden's prognosis or diagnosis is going to be brought up. But mainly what's going to be brought up is the fact that there's an auto pen issue. And let's continue to take a listen, and we'll follow up with some commentary after.
I would say, Dan, everybody's in line here, right?
Yes, sir. $25 billion is a down payment in the budget reconciliation bill right now.
Yeah. So I think
Mr. President, on Russia,
people actually love it.
Mr. President, on Russia, are you worried about the reports on a military buildup along the borders towards Finland and Norway?
No, I don't worry about that at all. They're going to be very safe. Those are two countries that are going to be very safe.
And the secondly, sir, if I may, Volodymyr Zelensky is saying today that he's hoping for you to impose new sanctions on Russia. Are you considering that?
Well, that's going to be my determination. That's going to be nobody else's determination. We'll see how Russia behaves. We see what's going to happen. We have a pretty critical time right now. I had a talk yesterday for 2.5 hours with President Putin, as you know. I also spoke to all of the European, or to many of them, leaders, but they were representing the whole. And I think we had very good conversations yesterday. Please.
Thanks, Mr. President. What companies have asked to be involved in building this system, and have you decided on who will be building it?
I think I'll let you answer that. You can mention some of yours from Alaska's involved, and Alaska is a big part of it because locationally they're sort of perfect. I think that's your first line of defense in certain instances. And Kevin will tell you that his state's involved. But honestly, Georgia's going to be very big. Florida's going to be very big. They're all going to be very big. Jim, do you want to talk about Indiana?
Yeah, in Fort Wayne, Indiana, where I live, we make all the space satellites at L3 Harris. Across the board, we're the top manufacturing state in the country. By the way, the tariffs have been very good for auto manufacturing.
They've been so good.
But this is going to be really good for the defense industry in my state. And there's so much money involved here. There are going to be a lot of American companies involved in making.
All right, so we are buffering, of course. We'll figure out what's going on with the feed there, but we'll make sure that we get to you live on what's going on, and whatever we miss, we'll make sure that you are caught up. I think we can get back to it in just a second. Let me see if I can keep
Most brilliant people in the world in
there it
Silicon
is.
Valley said we cannot duplicate, and we can't. This was somebody that I...
With this, can you talk about the timeline? How long will this take to complete?
We think it's going to be
Okay,
about
there it
a
goes.
little bit less than 3 years.
All right, you guys
And
can
we'll
go
have a
full
big
screen for a
phase-in
minute if you need
very
to.
early. You know, we're starting immediately with $25 billion. It'll cost about $175 billion completed, but we think in 2.5 to 3 years.
Are you confident that you can get the funding needed from Congress quickly?
Yeah. It's amazing how easy this one is to fund. You know, some funding is tough and some is easy. When we say we're going to save everyone's lives in a crazy world, it seems to be very easy to get. Yeah, we've already spoken to everybody who we have to speak to. Everybody's in, I would say, Dan, everybody's in line here, right?
Yes, sir. $25 billion is a down payment in the budget reconciliation bill right now.
Yeah, so I think
Mr. President, on Russia,
people actually love it.
Mr. President, on Russia, are you worried about the reports on a military buildup along the borders towards Finland and Norway?
No, I don't worry about that at all. They're going to be very safe. Those are two countries that are going to be very safe.
And the secondly, sir, if I may, Volodymyr Zelensky is saying today that he's hoping for you to impose new sanctions on Russia. Are you considering that?
Well, that's going to be my determination. That's going to be nobody else's determination. We'll see how Russia behaves. We see what's going to happen. You know, we have a pretty critical time right now. I had a talk yesterday for 2.5 hours with President Putin, as you know. I also spoke to all of the European, or to many of them, leaders, but they were representing the whole. And I think we had very good conversations yesterday. Please.
Thanks, Mr. President. What companies have asked to be involved in building this system, and have you decided on who will be building it at all?
Yeah, I think good.
But this is going to be really good for the defense industry in my state. And there's so much money involved here. There are going to be a lot of American companies involved in making the Golden Dome.
You might also say, you're talking about the tariffs. Here's some of the biggest auto plants in the world moving into Indiana, only for one reason, maybe two reasons, November 5th and the tariffs, okay?
Yes, sir.
But the tariffs have driven tremendous business into this country. But you have one of the biggest in the world being
The
built.
Honda Civics,
Right.
the new Honda Civic made.
Thanks for tuning us in with us live. As the video feed got cut short there, but that's
added
pretty
jobs.
much.
Eli Lilly moving
there it goes.
pharmaceutical manufacturing from China to the United States, $27 billion. You go on and on with good news in Indiana.
Yeah, let's keep
across
it
the
here for a
country
little
because
bit.
of the tariffs.
Our country was cold as ice a year ago, and now we have the hottest country in the world. This is the hottest country in the world. Nobody even close. If you look at even this last trip that I made, the respect that is paid to our country. We've went from being laughed at all over the world, and now we're the hottest country in the world by far. Dan, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I think when you look at the system that you've laid out, it's an idea in your executive order of a layered defense. So you have initial ground-based missile interceptors, which are made by some of the big defense companies, Lockheed, Martin, Raytheon. But the beauty of your vision, Mr. President, is that it's layered, it's open architecture, and it goes up into space. So this is going to be some of the new defense tech companies that are very interested in it and can bring missile defense at a cost that I don't think, you said it, Mr. President, is unimaginable in terms of how much lower the cost is. So it's all across the board in terms of companies. Senator Kramer and I just met with a bunch from last week that are interested in this. And you said it earlier, Mr. President, our technology sector is head and shoulders above any other place in the world, and they're going to be a key part of this, and I think that's why it makes it so exciting.
Mr. President, I think one of the things and you alluded to this, the new autonomous space age defense ecosystem is more about Silicon Valley than it is about big metal, right? And so what's exciting about this is it makes it available to everybody to participate, to compete. Big companies, mid-sized companies, small companies, but General Gutlein is the perfect person, again, to sort all that out because he understands how it has to work.
All right, that's a good place to cut it, guys.
Together, ultimately.
So we pretty much get the idea what's going on.
We have been discussing this for a long time.
You can let that do a side by side while we talk. That's good. just in case we're missing anything, we'll mute the audio. But for the most part, I want to remind everybody to go to YouTube. You can find us at Political Pulpit, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Make sure, oh, there you go. It's YouTube at Josh Navarrete Show. On the Political Pulpit Media, we are continuing to grow the company, grow the media house, and make sure that you guys get amazing insight from Christian conservatives like myself and others. There's other writers that are coming on board and other interviews that we hope to bring to the network. But again, we are working hard to honor our partnership with you all, and we want to thank our partners for getting on the Political Pulpit train. You guys have joined us, you've partnered with us, you've made sure this has been a success so far. We're coming on, I don't even remember, maybe it was October, November we really got going, but it's coming fast. We started in 2024, it's already halfway through 25, and before you know it, we'll be a year in, and just we're grateful for all of you that have helped us get the word and the message out. And to all our partners, thank you. You can see it there on the lower end of the lower screen. There's politicalpulpit.com/partner, and it's simple. It's a simple process to just get in there and partner with us. You can do a one-time donation, or you can be a monthly subscriber. So thank you so much. All right, that was pretty much the whole thing. I know it cut out a few times, but we're so grateful for you all once again. All right, let's get into it. So that's an amazing announcement. It's probably something that's going to be long overdue. We've been spoiled since the attacks on Pearl Harbor, which weren't even on the mainland. Those attacks happened there in Hawaii. Many of us have visited the landscape there and the memorial at Pearl Harbor, but we haven't seen an attack on U.S. soil outside of 9/11, outside of Pearl Harbor, and America doesn't know what it's like. We've been safe for so long. We don't know what war really looks like, especially in the last few generations, unless you've been deployed. Not on our homeland, at least. And to have the Golden Dome missile defense system that's going to be working with the Air Force and Space Force, all under the leadership of President Donald Trump. And so I think that's a great and amazing, awesome announcement. Okay, so let's get into some of the stuff that's happening in the news today. Secretary Rubio defense policies amid Senate clash. It says here that during a Senate hearing, tensions rose between Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Senator Chris Von Hollen. Rubio defended his policies, including the granting of refugee statuses to white South African farmers and the deportation of gang members from El Salvador. He argued these actions were in the nation's interest, while facing criticism for potentially racially biased policies. The exchange highlighted differing views on U.S. policy. I'm going to pull that up right now, so let's go full screen. Oh, where's the audio? Oh, sorry guys, I keep muting stuff. Let's just play it. Sorry.
Regret for voting for me confirms I'm doing it.
Start it over.
And I have to tell you directly and personally that I regret voting for you for Secretary of State. I yield back. May I respond?
You may sit.
Well, first of all, your regret for voting for me confirms I'm doing a good job, based on what I know. Well, that's just a flippant statement, Mr. Secretary. Can I respond, Mr. Chairman?
You may.
I didn't ask.
Senator, please let the Secretary.
Well, I'd be happy to, but then I can respond to his.
Your time's up, Senator, and willfully used, I might add.
Well,
So they go at it much further than that. They are absolutely angry at each other, but Marco Rubio does a great job at explaining his side of the story. So first of all, they're attacking him and the U.S., the Trump administration, for deporting gang members. It's crazy. Just think. Gang members.
Immigration policy should be based on the national interest of the United States. Period. End of story. If there is a subset of people that are easier to vet, who we have a better understanding of who they are and what they're going to do when they come here, they're going to receive preference, no doubt about it. There are a lot of sad stories around the world, millions and millions of people around the world. It's heartbreaking. We cannot assume millions and millions of people around the world. No country can. So you have to have a process of deciding who do you prioritize, who do you allow in. We do it all the time. We do it in our immigration system now under our current laws. Unfortunately, it's primarily based on family connection and not on what they're going to contribute to the society from a merit standpoint. That should be changed, but that'll require statutory changes. But the bottom line is, this notion that somehow we have to accept anyone who wants to come to the United States is absurd. No country in the world has an immigration policy like that.
It's never been that way. As a matter of fact, I think President Donald Trump, I'll find it in a second, Truth, he wrote a truth on his Truth Social that he believes President Biden was never an open border politician. I don't think anybody was, but whoever was running the country as Joe Biden was sick and not doing well, probably with a little bit of dementia, and now we're learning that he had cancer, prostate cancer, and it's been advanced for a long time, and now it's at the end stages, which you don't get at the end stages and having the best doctors in the world around you not know about this cancer. So we know he had it, and we know that he was struggling with it while he was president, which goes on to show that things weren't looking so hot for him while he was president. And we all knew this, but they were hiding it, and that's the bigger scandal. Okay, let's go back to Senator Rubio or Secretary Rubio on this argument he had on the hearing here.
Statutory phrase says you are entitled to entrance as a refugee if you demonstrate a well-justified fear of persecution.
No, you're not entitled.
So
you're
can
allowed.
You have a different standard based upon the color of somebody's skin? Would that be acceptable?
Well, I'm not the one arguing that. Apparently you are, because you don't like the fact that they're white, and that's why they're coming.
I'm just asking you to say that would be unacceptable.
Well, no,
that
I would say that the United States,
a very easy thing
the United
to say.
States has a right to pick and choose who they allow into the United States.
Even based on the color of somebody's skin.
No one's. You're the one that's talking about the color of their skin, not me. These
you're
are people whose farms were being burned down and they were killed because of the color of their skin.
Well,
Well, you've demonstrated enough because you think anyone should be allowed into this country for any reason because they met a certain criteria.
Who has said that?
We are going to prioritize people that come into our country on the basis of what's in the interest of this country. That's a small number of people that are coming.
But
in
you
that
said
particular case.
this weekend that
but
there
in other
would be more.
cases, it's harder to vet. In other cases, it's more difficult. And by the way, the United States admits people every year. 1 million people come to this country every year legally. 1 million.
And
people
now
a year come to this
there
country
is
legally.
one group
no
of
other
people that have an
nearly
easy
as generous.
pass into this country. For the first time, this administration has said Afrikaners get an easy pass and refugee programs for the remainder of the world are shut off. And you can't say to the American public that we should apply this statute in an even-handed way.
No, I think it should be applied in a way.
No,
you shouldn't be shocked. It should be applied in the national interest of the United States. Our immigration policy should be based on the national interest of the United States. Period. End of story. If there is a subset of people that are easier to vet, who we have a better understanding of who they are and what they're going to do when they come here, they're going to receive preference, no doubt about it. There are a lot of sad stories around the world, millions and millions of people around the world. It's heartbreaking. We cannot assume millions and millions of people around the world. No country can. So you have to have a process of deciding who do you prioritize, who do you allow in. We do it all the time. We do it in our immigration system now under our current laws. Unfortunately, it's primarily based on family connection and not on what they're going to contribute to the society from a merit standpoint. That should be changed, but that'll require statutory changes. But the bottom line is, this notion that somehow we have to accept anyone who wants to come to the United States is absurd. No country in the world has an immigration policy like that.
And no one is arguing that we should. I yield back, Mr. Chair.
No one likes to hear this because they have South Africans that are, their skin color is white, but they're farmers, and there's some crazy things happening over there, and they are being literally killed or murdered or attacked based on their color of their skin, and they're seeking asylum here. And they are easier to vet because they are business owners, they are entrepreneurs, and they own farmland. They have a documented history, something that we can look at as Americans. But because what he's not saying is the open border policy of the last 4 years and the broken border policy of this country has allowed a giant problem to happen in the United States of millions of people just coming unvetted. We don't know who they are. We can't vet them. So when a certain demographic of people come to seek asylum, and they do it the right way, they file the paperwork, they contact the embassies, they contact the United States, and they can be vetted quickly, that makes sense to bring people over. Well, unfortunately, there's a demographic of people that don't do it that way. They just come and they pay traffickers, they pay coyotes, they pay cartel members to get here and to illegally come. And so when you look at it from a visual perspective of what it looks like we're just taking in white people from South Africa and not colored people. It's not about the color of their skin, it's about doing it the right way and allowing us to do a immigration policy or an immigration process that makes sense for America. That's what Marco Rubio is doing. But of course, man, I hate to sound this way, but the white Democrat on the other side is trying to make it about color of skin. They always do that. They always try to make it seem like it's a race card. As if Secretary Marco Rubio is a white man himself. I mean, his family's from Cuba. They're immigrants. He understands, just like my family is, they come from Mexico. Most of us that have family coming from other countries know what it's like to come to America and live the American dream. We're trying to stop the millions of people that have flooded this country, and we can't vet them. If you can be vetted clearly and it all makes sense and it's to benefit of this country, guess what? You're probably going to make it to America the right way. And that's what's happening, and they are trying to pin it on a unfair, unreasonable, just making things look like we're heartless or this group is heartless and we should, vet or allow gang members from MS-13 and give them due process. Terrorist groups, give them due process, like an extra form of paperwork. It doesn't make any sense to me. Take a look at this next clip.
In the case of El Salvador, absolutely. Absolutely. We deported gang members, including the one you had a margarita with. And that guy is a human trafficker, and that guy is a gangbanger, and the evidence is going to be clear. In the days to come, you're going to see who you went to defend.
Senator, please, Secretary Rubio has the floor.
Mr. Chairman, he can't make unsubstantiated comments like that.
Secretary Rubio has the floor.
Secretary Rubio should take that testimony to the federal court of the United States because he hasn't done it under oath.
Here's another point, okay? There is a division in our government between the federal branch and the judicial branch. No judge in the judicial branch cannot tell me or the president how to conduct foreign policy. In the case of El Salvador, absolutely. Absolutely.
Look how, I'm going to let this play again. Stay on the screen, but look how he starts to freak out because he doesn't want the truth to get out. So this is what happens. As soon as truth starts to come out, they start, overstepping and interrupting and trying to talk over you so you can't hear the truth. The truth is, there's literal video of this man with people in his van, transporting them from one place to another from the border. These are immigrants. He's trafficking them into different cities. But yet they still cry foul and say it's unsubstantiated. Man, I can't talk today. I apologize. But it's not proven. Take a look.
We deported gang members, including the one you had a margarita with. And that guy is a human trafficker, and that guy is a gangbanger, and the evidence is going to be clear. In the days to come, you're going to see who you went to defend.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Rubio has the floor.
Mr. Chairman, he can't make unsubstantiated comments like that.
Secretary Rubio has the floor.
Secretary Rubio should take that testimony to the federal court of the United States because he hasn't done it under oath.
Here's another point, okay? There is a division in our government between the federal...
He's just interrupting him so he can't get the truth out. It's ridiculous. I can't stand that they do that stuff. All right, so we can go on and on, but let's keep it moving. It's already been a long show. Let me see if I can pull up. When I get it, I'm going to pull it up for you guys. It's basically... the opportunity to, let me show you this clip. This is actually interesting. There's a self-deportation clause, or it's a new policy where you can deport yourself and it gets taken care of for you. So you don't have to hide or anything. Matter of fact, they'll help you get a plane ticket and take care of you and make sure you get home. I think this is actually really great because as Americans, We already know how difficult it is to feed your family, to keep gas in the cars, to keep your electric bills down, or keep your electricity at a reasonable rate. Water, I mean, in Arizona, water prices are ridiculous. To water the lawn, it's almost like a house payment, just if you have grass or shrubs or trees or whatever to keep those things green in this hot desert, you might as well get another mortgage. But anyways, for everybody else, prices they're not cheap, and then wages are not exactly going up either. It's a difficult thing to do to support your family out here. You got to work really hard and be educated, be an entrepreneur, be trained, all those things. So to come as an immigrant and work the lower end jobs and still make it is not exactly easy. So what could happen is that they'll find out that it's actually pretty difficult when you're not living off our taxes, Medicare, Medicaid, all the things. Section 8, getting all the government handouts that we were getting the last 4 years for immigrants. They're going to realize it's not easy. It might just be better off going home and working, living your life back in your country. Because it's difficult to be in America and to support your family. It's difficult to find jobs that pay you enough to live unless you're trained. Because the lower end jobs, people don't talk about that. To work the crops, to work the fields, to work construction, to work the jobs that they say Americans don't want to work. What happens is these companies take advantage of these immigrants and pay them lower wages, unlivable wages, because they know they need the work. And to me, it's even more of a crime to do that to people, to take advantage of these lower end jobs and people that are willing to work them because they're from other countries, and you pay them almost nothing. And so I think what's going to happen is they're going to apply to go home, and it's actually kind of working. So take a look at this clip here.
For President Trump, yesterday the Supreme Court lifting a lower court's injunction allowing the administration to move forward on ending legal protections for some Venezuelan migrants. Plus, the first charter flight for dozens of self-deporting migrants took off. 64 illegal immigrants were flown from Houston back to their native Honduras and Colombia. The Trump administration says it will continue offering a free flight and $1,000 stipend to any illegal alien who self-deports using the Customs and Border Patrol Home app. Another victory for President Trump.
So instead of using the app to break into the country and live out here for free, you can use the app to get home with $1,000 and a free plane ride. Already that's too much, but I get it. We got to get people safe and back home. It makes a lot of sense. So this is great news. I love the policies that President Donald Trump has created. He's creative, he's smart, he knows how to get things done, and this is exactly the type of leadership we need. We needed to fix what was happening. We needed to fix what was broken, I should say. And that was most definitely, absolutely broken. And it's being fixed. Now, it's going to be difficult to fix it all, but it's being fixed, thank God. And you know what? A lot of stuff, bad things happen to people that came over the border illegally. I know they were told and promised a whole lot from this last administration, and promised a free ride to America, a card, a phone, all the things. I mean, I've traveled plenty and have seen my own fair share of immigrants with the packets in their hands, brand new clothes, brand new backpacks and duffel bags. How they got them, who knows, but they were dressed better than most people on that plane. And I'm wondering what they're doing now. They're probably realizing it's difficult to live out here, unless you're out here breaking the law and selling drugs or whatever. But even that's going to become more difficult because the department, ICE, FBI, and all of the three-letter agencies the house is being cleaned. And we're out there, they are out there cleaning the streets, taking criminals off the streets, doing what they are meant to do. So if you're out here to try to break the law and sell drugs and traffic and do all the crazy stuff that they are coming out here doing, it's not going to be that easy anymore. It's not free reign anymore. The law enforcement is back. The sheriffs are back in town, and it's all good. So, okay. Now we had Pete Hegseth, we had President Donald Trump with the Golden Dome. Did you all hear what happened and the news that broke over the weekend or the last couple of days? Former President Joe Biden was diagnosed We all knew something was up. And it's, sad to hear. But President Joe Biden has a cancer that has probably has grown, went to the bone. And that means it's advanced cancer. There are several stages. It's at the last stages, and it's at the highest grade. It's like a grade 9. President Donald Trump kept saying the other day it was stage 9. He's still right, because it's a level 9 form of cancer, meaning that it's been there for a long time. He's probably had it and struggled with it for quite some time. Let's see. Do you guys have, how should I do it? Do you guys have a side-by-side on the screen? Or if I do this, can you guys see it? How do you? Okay, I'm going to keep my screen there. I'm going to let them work on this. It's President Joe Biden, or you know what? I'm going to show my full Twitter feed if you guys can do that. And I'll leave it right there. But it says cancer touches us all. It's President Joe Biden's Twitter. You might have all seen it. It says cancer touches us all. Like so many of you, Jill and I have learned that we are strongest in the broken places. Thank you for lifting us up with love and support. President Joe Biden writing and tweeting that that he is lifted by all, everybody's love and prayers. Now, nobody wants to see anybody suffer from a terminal disease. It's not easy. It's not I can't imagine, the feeling of just going through that. Now, saying all that, he has not had the best record in my eyes, and many of your eyes. But then I started to think, as he aged, he became a political figure. He's been in politics for 40, 50 years, or whatever the number has been. He is an authoritative figure and has a following of the Democratic Party. They all got behind him and they pushed him along. But it was like a weekend at Bernie's. They kept this poor old man who was caught in a cognitive decline like we've never seen before from any president. So much so that there has been an auto pen issue, meaning there's executive orders that were flying. I mean, I'll never forget the first round of executive orders, him even saying where and when, or what am I signing? He didn't even know what he was signing. I don't believe that he even knew 90% of the things that he was signing. He was just signing away. There was a group of people that were running this country. And President Joe Biden at the time could do nothing about it. He was just told where to stand, told where to walk. They wheeled him around, flew him around the country, flew him around the world, and he was just a standing figure. And he could barely do that. He fell down the stairs. He fell up the stairs. He fell on the stage. He stumbled, and he couldn't walk on the White House lawn. They have him walking through the beach, they show him walking through the beach, and, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. Why would somebody do this to a weak old man as Joe Biden has been? And in a nice way, President Joe Biden had no business being the president. And the Democratic Party propped him up in hopes that he wouldn't make his second term, lifting up Kamala Harris. Now, why? I don't know. Because now they have no options. And the options that the Democratic Party has aren't great. Let's see what President Donald Trump has to say about that the other day.
Given to everybody, but it's given just about. And it takes a long time to get to that situation. Now, I think, to get to a stage 9, I think that if you take a look, it's the same doctor that said that Joe was cognitively fine. There was nothing wrong with him. Well, he said, if it's the same doctor, he said there was nothing wrong there, and that's being proven to be a sad situation. And the auto pen is becoming a very big deal. The auto pen is becoming a big deal because it seems like that maybe was the president who ever operated the auto pen. But when they say that was not good, they also, you have to look and you have to say that the test was not so good either. In other words, there are things going on that the public wasn't informed, and I think somebody's going to have to speak to his doctor, if it's the same, or even if it's two separate doctors. Why wasn't the cognitive ability. Why wasn't that discussed? And I think the doctor said he's just fine, and it's turned out to everybody. But
I think we're going to find out some crazy things in the near future. I think there's going to be a deep investigation. It's kind of like, why prosecute a president or somebody that's at the end of life? But the sad thing about it is that they're willing to prop up even a 101 or whatever year old man in Jimmy Carter, who was, probably had the death gargle or the gargle of death, when they're their last few breaths before they die. I mean, he was out there with his mouth wide open looking like a corpse just so he can vote for Kamala Harris. They're willing to do something so disgusting. And it doesn't surprise me that they had to use auto pen. Somebody was signing these executive orders, and President Joe Biden was hardly alive for it or cognitively aware. There's been doctors that say he's got signs of dementia. There's doctors that say he's got signs of some mental issues there, but it looks like like a stroke. Well, it makes sense. He's getting treatment for cancer, and treatment for cancer tears up the human body in so many different ways. And if he's getting radiation, if he's getting chemotherapy, you're going to be extremely fatigued and tired. And we've seen, if you've had family members or anybody in your family that's gone through treatment, you see what it does to your body. And lo and behold, something was not right. And we all knew it. And somehow they thought they got away with it. But I think whoever was running the country needs to be investigated. Take a look at this clip. This talk show host Jesse Kelly on the Jesse Kelly Show has some questions.
So for 4 years, the president not only had dementia, he had prostate cancer, advanced prostate cancer. He was either A, treating it, or B, chose to forego treatment and die, and people all around him knew it and pretended as if he was functional for 4 years as he ran the United States of America into the side of a mountain. So again, I want to ask, who's going to go to prison? Because it's not a small thing. It's not a made-up political scandal. It's not time to move on. It's not time to focus on something else. I want to know who's going to prison for covering up the mental and physical condition of the man pretending to be president for 4 years. Donald Trump has to work 19 hours a day, trade deals, this, that. The job of the presidency is an endless, brutal grind. And for 4 years, we didn't have one. And guess what? It didn't just magically happen. People did it.
Yeah. Jesse's fired up. He's fired up, but he's absolutely right. Who's doing it? Somebody's running this country. If President Donald Trump's got to be working the long hours that he did, he traveled the country, or he traveled to Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and was back in no time, back to work the next day. Unreal. He did executive signings, appearances, and of course, meetings after meetings. The man does not stop. Well, who was running the country when Joe Biden was president? That's the big question. I'll leave that up for you all to decide. But when we come back tomorrow, we'll get into more breaking news and more to come. And hopefully we'll finally have Dave Robbins from End Time Ministries and the prophetic history of America. Is America in prophecy? Is it in the Bible? And they uncover that, and all of those questions get answered. And so we are so excited to bring that interview coming soon. Of course, I want to remind all of our subscribers to hit that notification bell and just share the video. Let your friends know, let your families know. If you're watching us on Facebook, share us on some of your group pages. I think that'll be quite helpful to get some more subscribers in and break through some of those algorithms. We want to thank you all for joining us, for partnering with us, and becoming part of the Political Pulpit. We will be back tomorrow. And of course, we have the Night Owl broadcast Thursday night, Friday night, and sometimes Saturday night. But we'll all see you next time. Thank you, and God bless.